What's the haps? It's your girl Dabs coming at you with another episode here in Oaklands. Oh, perfect timing. It looks like the storm is finishing up there in the skies. Anyway, so today I thought I might talk to you a little bit about some tips and tricks for building and just I don't know, some of I guess the struggles that you can kind of deal with as you're trying to build new things and how to get past that. So kind of my number one thing that I deal with first of all is really just finding inspiration in the first place, right? So you have to think of, what do I want to build and get some ideas. So I mean, really, Google's your best friend, right? Anytime you want to do something new, try to get some ideas from Google. Is it that you want to build something that is, animals? Sorry. Is it something, like woodland creatures? Do you want to build wildlife stuff? Do you want to build a fairy garden? Do you want to build a big shop? Do you want to build a big house? You need to kind of get an idea for what type of building you want to make. For example, when I was trying to decide on this shop, I looked up luxury shops and found a bunch of like French and Italian type old style buildings with luxury shops in them. And that's kind of where I started to get ideas for the way this building looks. And in a lot of those, there were some really nice floorings. And that's sort of what inspired this whole idea. And I kept looking up different pictures to get ideas for that. Then I started looking up luxury lighting, and that gave me ideas for some of the lights that I made. So, really just looking up pictures to give you ideas. On my other base, I would look up pictures of the animals that I wanted to build. And then if you're looking up animals, a lot of times looking up things like clip art, once you look up the image, just switch to clip art and look at the image, because it's a lot more of a basic picture of the animal. And looking up the basic picture gives you the basic shape with not as much extra stuff to it. And that makes it a little bit easier to sort of mimic that shape as you're going along. So that was a lot easier as well. And you can add stuff, as you go along and fix shapes and things like that. But that definitely helps. I think another thing that helps when you're working on getting your shapes and trying to find things is when you look at the different shapes that are available in the so when you look at some of the different shapes that you have in, so this one's not very big, that you have available, right? Set some of them out, make them, play with the different sizes. Try to make them uniform just to see what they're going to look like. Try to maybe make a pattern out of them and see what you think about the pattern that it might make. Right? Maybe you like a pattern that it creates. You can make an extra pattern like that, or you can do an offset pattern like that and just see, is this something that I like the look of? Do I not like the look of this? Does it give me any ideas for other things that I could try? Let's see if we get that centered. Like, that's kind of cool with the little triangles on the inside. That's an interesting pattern right there. Like that could make some interesting like wallpaper design, or like a wall divider type thing. You could do something similar with the pentagon. Could probably do some interesting things with the trapezoid if you were to maybe give it a twist and then maybe, you know, center everything along the inside here, and then do that again like that, right? Like that could be an interesting shape. You can make all sorts of crazy shapes with these different things. And who knows what sort of ideas you could end up getting, you know, once you really pull these shapes together. You never know what you're going to come up with, right? Like, you know, maybe that looks like a tunnel of some sort. That might give you some sort of idea. You turn it this way and it's a barrel, and maybe now you're thinking, oh, I could do a winery. I can add a little what's it called, a little spout to the side of it and turn it into a little barrel looking thing, you know, and have like a stack of barrels. Or I could make a bar and put the little spout on this side, keep it turned to the side, and have a little spout coming out that side. Maybe have like a little bar type thing. So sometimes when you aren't sure what you want to make, you know, just playing with the different blueprints that you do have and seeing what you could create out of them, what all they could make when they're put together, the different shapes that they could make when they connect. You know, you never know what all you can end up figuring out that way. And then especially like when you do have an idea in mind and you're trying to get a specific let's do this, let's double that up and then twist it around. Sometimes when you are trying to make a specific thing and you can't quite figure out how to make the shape you're trying to figure out, you know, you can get ideas after trying to pull some shapes together. Like, look at this is interesting. By putting all of these together, we end up with this really interesting, like, peaked roof kind of thing going on here. Kind of looks like a circus tent almost. Right? Like, that could be inspiration for something. Maybe a little, like, oh, you've seen Wicked. It's giving me a little witch hat inspiration. Like, that's pretty cool. Right? So there's just all sorts of things that you can do. And, you know, of course, you guys have seen me make lots of things. And I use, you know, rectangles a lot. And I use cylinders a lot. Ooh, what did I do? Oh, I turned it. You know, these obviously are very easy to create things out of. This is a good shape as well to create. If you put all four together, you'll end up with a nice little, as long as they're all an even shape, you'll end up with a nice little half sphere. So then you can also turn it into a sphere if you want, or you can, that one gets stuck inside, there we go. Alright, you can have a nice little hemisphere there, which could be used for all sorts of things, but you know, it's all sorts of different options here. You can make all sorts of different things. Sorry, got a sick kiddo in the background. But you know, you never know what might come to you looking at all these different things, and you go, oh, okay, I could see how we could pull that together and turn it into this or that. And you know, you make things smaller or bigger, and all of a sudden you see it in a new light, and you have a different idea of something you can do with it or how you can pull it together. You know, now that's a totally different shape, and now I've got, you know, some sort of portal, or can add this sort of design to the outside, and now we've got like a mirror type thing going on. Like a big fancy mirror. Right? You could add some little things on the outside here that would make it fancy. You could anchor some flowers on the outside, and now all of a sudden we've got a big fancy mirror and like a big castle. You know, it's really your imagination that is the limiting factor here. You've just got to start putting things together and see what your mind can come up with. See where it takes you. You know, I think that's the hardest part, because you have all these little shapes, and trying to think of what to do with them is the hard part, right? I mean, you know, you don't realize what all you can make out of something until you start trying to turn it into something, and then once you know, really start trying to make something intentionally, you can see it come together into something beautiful. And I mean, that's when you really start to thrive and you start to see some amazing things happen. So that's, you know, that's really the way it works. And that's what I'm typically doing, is I've got some kind of design I'm looking at in the background, trying to mimic in some way or another. I'm not great at coming up with designs out of nowhere. Sometimes I can. I think I told you guys that I've been drawing leaves and vines since I was a little kid. So this one was straight from my brain. And you know, this was just a series of circles and spheres that I smushed together. So that was straight out of my brain too. But most of the time, you know, like this lamp, when I looked up luxury lamps, I saw something similar. I saw sconces that were similar to this one, but obviously the vine work came from this. So that all came together. This is all straight out of McFunPants' mind. He did all of this. He did a great job. But I helped him a little bit with the tail of the dolphin, and I had to look up a dolphin to see what the dolphin's tail looked like to help fix that, because I couldn't off the top of my head. Like, I have to look things up to get an idea before I can start to design, because I want to make sure I'm getting a good shape, right? Like, that's not things I can come up with just out of nowhere in my brain. I'm not good at the, you know, creative concepts out of nowhere. So if you think like you can't do this because you're not creative enough, like, it's not about that. You don't have to come up with a design out of nowhere. You can find designs and start mimicking them, and then eventually you'll have some, you know, original thoughts that come to you of your own, and then you can start sort of working on those and see what happens from there. I keep coming back to this. I'm really loving this shape, and now I really want to go make a tiny house in the other plot with this kind of shape to it. Like, maybe it's that one fairy who's all dark. She's got like a little wicked witch hat of a house. I don't know. or maybe someone lives in a barrel. But there's all sorts of things you can do. You can make all sorts of shapes, bring all sorts of things together, and you don't know what you're going to come up with until you start putting it together. And like I said, find something similar that you want to do and work with it from there. Once you start trying to get the shapes right, trying to get that feel of a pattern or maybe an organic look, you'll find something that's going to work for you. So for whatever reason, I decided on a bunny today, so I'm going to find me a good bunny picture and see what I can do to put a little bunny together, and we'll see how that goes. So we'll throw that in here and see what our little bunny looks like in the end. All right, so I think that looks good. That looks pretty much like a little bunny rabbit. And there's a couple of tricks I've learned over the last little bit with doing animals. Ears, definitely doing the cylinder and then adding the torus on top to give it that little bit of dimension helps a lot. So that's one little trick I've learned. And then doing the sphere on top and then a little smaller sphere that's flatter for the mouth is one little trick that I've learned. And then for this guy, I did a bigger sphere here and then a thinner, longer one in order to kind of give it the cheeks. And that, I think, worked out pretty well to give it like the little cheeks of the bunny and then the little snout of the bunny. And then using the little cylinder wedge here for the nose. I mean, the arms aren't too exciting, but neither are the legs really. But you know, it's just a little bunny friend. It's not supposed to be super exciting in that regard. I think it would come together pretty cute with some color Another thing that you can do if you want to do some separate colors for like maybe the back and then something separate on the belly is you could put a second sphere in here, and then you can kind of make it a little bit smaller on the second sphere, you know, something like this, and then that would give you the ability to make this set a different color, and then you would be able to make the tummy here just a different shade, and then it doesn't really mess with the shape of the bunny at all, but it gives you that ability to have a different color there when you're shading it in. So that's something that I like to do a lot as well. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you enjoyed this style of video, let me know in the comments, and we will catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.